Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Monday Musings-Danny SportsWrap. It's always brought to you by Dillon's Heating and Cooling. Boy, we're starting to get to that hot weather, and if you've got some issues with your air conditioning, make sure to see Jeff and his fine crew at Dillon's Heating and Cooling. Go to the website, pay attention to the commercial you'll hear right after our opening salvo right here, and they will help you out and treat you like family, like they say. Well, it was a nice weekend weather-wise if you like the heat, and certainly in my world it was a mix of real life and illusions and concerns and joys. Spent some time with my wife over the weekend. We have an older dog who's having some health problems, and we're hoping to coax her through that and get some more quality time with her, our dog Quinny, and consumed a lot of baseball, a lot of soccer over the weekend, and also hit the movies on a Sunday afternoon and saw the movie In the Heights, the movie from the creator of Hamilton, and certainly it was an exuberant, Tony-winning type of Broadway musical that was transferred to the screen, and it's a whole lot of fun. I'm not so sure it's quite as great as a lot of people are saying. The musical numbers are wonderful, and it seems like the evolution of Lin-Manuel Miranda as an artist, I think, can be seen in the fact that this was predating Hamilton, and I think Hamilton is a little more sophisticated and things like that, but it is a really fun time at the movies, and go see it on a big screen because there's some spectacular singing and dancing in it, and it's a lot of fun. Then at night, what did we do? Of course, I watched a lot of sports this weekend. I would watch a lot of sports after we watched the Westminster Dog Show with my wife. I enjoy watching the dog shows, but I seldom enjoy the best of show portion because they always pick a dog that I don't even think kind of looks like a dog. And they did it again as Wasabi, the Pekingese, was the winner of the Westminster Dog Show. And it was one of those over-coiffed, hairy dogs that prances around. You can't even see their eyes. Anyway, that's a little diversion there, but it was fun. It's always fun to watch the dog show with my wife and the dogs, as a matter of fact. And, of course, I mentioned a lot of soccer. Real life certainly was integrated into that as Christian Eriksen of Denmark collapsed just before halftime in the third game of the European 2021 tournament, and he had cardiac arrest. It wasn't known exactly that at the time, but he collapsed. He is stable now, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the second segment. But for a while there, people were very concerned that we might have a fatality in a World Soccer event, and thankfully that is not the case. And one of actually a very big star in the world of soccer, Christian Eriksen, appears like he will be okay. So a lot of things to talk about, and certainly I've so far been avoiding the Kansas City Royals. We can't do that. That's what we'll start off with, as the Royals have hit another lengthy skid, and their road trip to the West Coast was a disaster at just about every level. Unfortunately, that starts it off, but there's a lot of fun to be had, too. Coming up next on Monday Musings, Danny SportsWrap, presented by Dillon's Heating and Cooling.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Time to spend a few minutes with my good friend Jeff Dillon from Dillon's Heating and Cooling. And Jeff, what differentiates your company from others in the industry?
Plain and simple, we're honest. We have integrity, and we're going to do things right the first time. There's way too many companies out there that lie, cheat, hide things from the homeowner or customer, and we're not about that. It's kind of funny sometimes. I actually am so honest with some people, it kind of surprises them. But sometimes it's good for business, sometimes it's bad for business. But ultimately, it's the kind of business that I want to run, is an honest one.
And that family way of treating things is part of your slogan, and it's also part of one of your great features that you offer to customers.
Our slogan is like family. Our most popular maintenance plan is called the Family Plan. It's very similar to a lot of ones out there. The little tweak that we do to ours, 1% off for every 2 years. They have a continued maintenance plan with us. If they have a maintenance plan for 10 years, then we give them 5% off, no questions asked.
You can find out more about Dillon's Heating and Cooling and all their great range of services at dillonsheatingandcooling.com. That's Dillon's with an S. The phone number, 913-214-1343. Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Vision's goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300. Let's have a brief conversation with David Schmidt from Pro Millennial. David, what differentiates you from other financial organizations?
I would say the passion we have for seeing our clients succeed is probably paramount to what we do here. There's no joy greater than watching a client accumulate wealth. I had a client that I've had for many years was able to buy his dream warehouse. Nothing too extravagant, but we had a savings plan in place and was able to see him fulfill his dreams.
And what else motivates you in this industry?
Well, lately it's been finding out inconsistencies in the marketplace, ferreting out some more than questionable ideas out there that what we're seeing with Bitcoin and a few of these other cryptocurrencies right now. I'm in the opinion where if it's untraceable, it really needs to be regulated in a big way right now.
To get more information and advice from David, visit promillennial.com or call 816-221-7775. That's 816-221-7775. We're here once again with Dr. Brad Woodall from Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. Springtime, good weather's finally here. People want to stay active, and it's your job to make sure that they can stay active, and be healthy.
Danny, we see a lot of not just weekend warriors, but people that every day are having that want to get back to activity. Whether you're starting with walking, jogging, or maybe that first 5K of the year, we want to help you out. We specialize in taking care of all ages, from kids all the way to grandmas and grandpas, but absolutely specialize in getting you back to full function and keeping you in great shape.
So in short, how do we go about doing that?
The first thing is to schedule a consultation with one of our doctors and therapists so we can see how you move and how you're supposed to move. Based on our assessment, we can put together a short treatment plan and a set of goals to help you both feel better, function better, and most importantly, stay better for this year and many years to come.
Learn more at asfca.com/Danny. That's asfca.com/Danny. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. We're back, and okay, no fun at the movies, no dog show, no movies, no music, no picnics. We'll just talk about the Kansas City Royals now, and unfortunately, that's not really a whole lot of fun. And the Royals have lost 8 of 9. They lost all but one game on the West Coast road trip. They were outscored on the trip or during this stretch, 51-24. Yes, that's 24 runs in their last 9 games. When you're not averaging even 3 runs a game and you're actually doing it like consistency night after night, not even throwing in a couple of high-scoring games, it is a prescription for disaster, and that is the case. And the Royals now see themselves 4 games under 500 after a lopsided loss on Sunday, and they are 4 games under 500. That is the lowest that they have been since earlier this year when they concluded their 11-game losing streak. And hopefully things can stop right away, because at least starting with Monday night, they have the Tigers in town for 3. But when you're playing like this, there are no guarantees in any way, shape, or form, especially when you can't hit. And a big problem for the Royals is that besides the 4 players who've pretty much been consistent in hitting all year, Santana, Perez, Benintendi, and Merrifield, although Merrifield has been pretty cool of late as well. You're just not getting anything at all. 1 for 16 from the bottom 5 in the order on Sunday, and that has been a recurring theme. Hunter Dozier and Jorge Soler, 0 fors on Sunday. They continue to hit abysmally, and I'm sure it's easy for Mike Matheny to look at his club and look at his record and say, look what we could be if 2 guys who are expected to be real power sources, potential all-stars, 30 home run guys, are doing absolutely positively nothing. Of course, that's one of the things that is a problem right now, the offense, with only 3 regulars above 690 in OPS. That's right. For a little context there, the Astros' regular lineup of 9 players, 8 of them are over 800 in OPS. And so you don't expect to have an Astros-type offense, but just to see the juxtaposition of that. And remarkably, the Royals aren't even the worst offensive team, really, by far in the American League. There's a few teams that are below them, giving a reflection of where we are as far as offense in this day and age of 2020. Now, probably the more important and overriding thing, even than an offense that you could see could improve in the future, maybe, and isn't the thing you're really hanging your hat on, because what this organization has made its manifesto of is young starting pitching, and it just wasn't there on the trip. Jackson Kowar, the latest young phenom to come up, and he was disastrous in his first start and just barely better in his second start. The weekend featured all 3 young pitchers who are in the rotation right now. Brady Singer was good. Jackson Kowar, just ugh. We'll get to that in a minute. And Chris Bubic now is on a bad run after he was surprising for a while. Kowar just looks completely overmatched, and he seems to have not taken to the major league stage with any kind of poise whatsoever. His ERA actually dropped 16 runs when he gave up 4 runs in an inning and a third. His ERA is 38 now. And I hate to chuckle about it, but it's just you better chuckle, because that's about the only thing that'll make you feel a little bit better about the fact he's had no command. He's not fooling anybody. He's not overpowering anybody. He just looks completely overmatched, and it certainly does appear that there's going to be another start or 2 for him, and let's just hope that he can make it a little bit better. Chris Bubic now has given up 7 home runs in his last 2 starts after yesterday being tagged for 4 of them, and his ERA is up to 4.01 after a flashy start. And the comments of Sal Perez, certainly after the game, resonate, because he said with his type of pitching, he has to be on the black. Well, that's asking a lot of a pitcher, and certainly some of the changeups that Chris Bubic threw in the game on Sunday were right in the heat zone, is what he talked about. And you can't throw bad changeups to major league hitters, or they go a long, long way. And Matt Olson delivered a couple of titanic blows against him. So the pitching wasn't good. The hitting wasn't good. That's what adds up to 8 out of 9. The Royals are now 10.5 games out in the division, 6.5 games out in the wild card. The signs are not particularly good at this moment in time, and trying to show patience is Mike Matheny. He's made some comments about how his offense is easily deflated. And I think on Saturday, in his comments about Jackson Kowar, he was trying to be a little more upbeat about things, and he's trying to keep a chin up as they head home. And after yesterday's game, he, once again, was forced to talk about subjects you don't want to talk about, like Chris Bubic and a tepid offense.
Working behind in counts, which wasn't necessarily his problem. It was getting too much of the plate. Middle gets hit pretty hard in this league. So you're talking about a couple of home runs with fastballs in the middle part, slightly up, and the changeups that drifted to the middle part of the plate and up as well. And it's the home run that's been hurting him lately. No, I think it's just the execution. I thought his stuff looked good. I thought he came out right from the first hitter, establishing the third base side of the plate, elevating a little bit, and then trying to get right back down in the zone. Down's going to be key for him, and for many young pitchers, it's a hard thing to learn, to be able to elevate and then get right back down to what your strength is, which is the bottom. And when he's down, that's when his fastball is effective. That's when his changeup's effective. But there are times, and certainly certain hitters in this league, that you can maximize the ability to use the top of the zone. It's just how many pitches are going to take you to get back down on top with good angle and plane on the ball. Yeah, I think we still left some money on the table there. Had some opportunities to do something there in the second. It was good to see Nicky put together a really good at-bat and at least get one. We've talked about that a number of times, but we're still looking for that big hit, that one that allows us to put a little space, and then we need a shutdown right after that too. And unfortunately, gave up a couple more after we did get one. But just one of those that the big hit kind of eluded us. Had a couple guys come out big with nobody on with Santana, and great swing by Benny. Need those big hits when we get guys in scoring position. We got multiple guys on base.
The Royals do come home. It is the Tigers. The Tigers got just one hit yesterday in their game, so maybe they're ripe for the plucking, but the Royals have to put some offense on the board, and the thing that we have seen so far is that the Royals offense has been at its best, and that's not real surprising when there has been not so good pitching on the other side, and that's what we're going to see out of Detroit in this particular series, and maybe the Royals can get it right, and really it's kind of vital right now. If you're a team that wants to be competitive and wants to stay around 500 and be relevant, now's the time, because they are 4 games under 500, a not-so-hot homestand, and you probably are never going to see 500 again. You could make the case that you aren't going to see 500 again right now, but a good series against the Tigers, and it'll make things feel a whole lot better for the Kansas City Royals, and kind of probably a good thing that they just had to hop on a plane late Sunday, come here, hit the rack, and get right back to the ballpark and get things started up again and not have to think. I think a off day probably would have been ill-served for the Royals at this point in time, and they will get to go right back into action with the start of a homestand against the Tigers. Coming up next, we do talk a lot of soccer, and there's some tennis news, and there's a couple other notes as well. We're having fun on a Monday. It's hot in Kansas City. We've got the feel of summer. We're almost officially to summer, and we'll talk about more good stuff coming up next on Monday Musings-Danny Sports Wrap, presented by Dillon's Heating and Cooling.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Most of us have experienced auto accidents, and it's no fun. And even less fun is trying to work on the insurance aspects afterwards and getting full value after an auto accident. I'm here with David Cowan from RecExpert.com. And David, you have an unusual and important niche for people after an auto accident.
We have a passion to teach car wreck clients what they deserve. Getting your car repaired only fixes the damage and the paint. Getting paid for your car's loss in value is called diminished value. Chances are you've never heard of this before because most people aren't looking out for you. We help people collect thousands to tens of thousands of dollars for their car's loss in value after the wreck.
And if somebody wants to come to you for that, what's the original assessment cost them?
We offer a free review of any insurance claim to see how we can help.
You can't beat that. Great expertise and assistance in getting full value after an auto accident from David Cowan. Visit RecExpert.com and learn more. We're here with Michael Barber, the CEO and founder of Microlight Corporation of America, the world leaders in laser therapy. And Michael, tell us a little bit about your product.
Our device is using a particular wavelength and power to reduce pain and swelling. My background is surgical lasers, but I've been involved with this particular device now for about the last 20 years, actually.
And I know that it works because I've had it used on me as well. And tell us about the relationship you have with your company and Canaway.
It's what I call a strategic business relationship in that Canaway, the leader in the field of the cannabinoid systems and CBD oil, but our device used in conjunction with Canaway CBD oil gives a better pain relief outcome for the patient.
And if you want to get that pain relief outcome like I did, you can reach their local representative, Sherry McCants, at 515-208-6312. That's 515-208-6312.
Hey everyone, this is Matt Llewellyn for the 23rd Street Brewery. Thank you so much for supporting local restaurants, especially through this pandemic. And you know what? We're almost through it. At the 23rd Street Brewery, we have brought in a few more tables. You can wear a mask if you want, or not. It's your choice. Other than that, we're open 11:30 every single day. So come see us at the 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence.
I'm here with Joe Spiker, owner of Easton Roofing. And Joe, there's all kinds of roofing companies in Kansas City. People see their trucks, they see their ads, they see their commercials on TV. What separates you out from the pack?
Danny, you know, there's a lot of roofers in Kansas City that are good roofers that can put a good roof on, but we like to pride ourselves on giving you a good customer service experience. From the first time you call, you're going to get a friendly voice on the phone. We're going to let you know what's happening and when it's happening. And, you know, the other piece is some companies are small enough to do small jobs. Some companies are big enough to do big jobs. You know, we're right there in the middle. We can handle the little stuff. We can handle your repairs all the way up to your big commercial roofs.
So what's the best way for folks to get in touch with you at Easton Roofing?
You can find us at eastonroofing.com, or you can always call us at 913-257-5426. That's 913-257-5426.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
Welcome back, and it's time to talk a lot of the other kind of football to some, and a little bit about American throwball, which one of my friends calls it, American football. Of course, soccer's not everybody's cup of tea, but in my world, it is something that is rather important and fun. And what a weekend and time right now for soccer. Sporting Kansas City in action on Saturday afternoon and played a game we'll talk about here, a very exciting game, and good result for Sporting, a 1-1 draw. But my soccer weekend really kind of kicked off last week when I finally found out, I don't know why I didn't check on this before, that every single game of the European Championships was going to be on regular old cable television, ESPN. Wouldn't have to go to streaming, wouldn't have to be mad if I didn't go to streaming. I can watch any of the 52 games, I believe it is, of the European Championships on ESPN. And of course, if you are a streamer, as they note many times, it is on the ESPN app. But the weekend of soccer did almost start with a real pall, as in the third game of the European Championships, Denmark was playing Finland, and Denmark star player Christian Eriksen collapsed on the field. And this was late morning American time, and many people who are soccer fans, including, as you'll hear, the players in the Sporting Austin game, watched as Eriksen collapsed without any contact or anything else, and it looked like it could be a real tragedy for quite a long time. Appears now that he's going to be just fine, and it was noted across the soccer world, and as we'll hear Peter Vermees reference it, people pay attention. The soccer is a close community, and the European Championships are something that players here pay a lot of attention to, and they did. And what could have been a really bad situation turned out to be one that just sort of makes us think about the precious life that we all have, and that somebody who's 29 years old and in the peak of health can have something like that happen to him. But Christian Eriksen appears to be all right, and it certainly was a situation that, well, made us reflect and think about things as we worked our way through our sporting weekend. And Sporting Kansas City did take the field just after 2 o'clock on a hot day in front of the 150th MLS sellout in stadium history, and it was the kind of soccer game that we have seen Sporting play quite a bit of this year, especially at home, where they will dominate the proceedings, but the other team will bunker in, play solid defense, counterattack, and it really created an extremely exciting game. It's an unusual game that you can see sometimes in soccer, as Sporting put 32 shots on. They took 32 shots, many of them on goal, forcing Austin goalkeeper Brad Stuver to make a career-high 9 saves, many of the spectacular variety. And Sporting actually fell behind early on in the 26th minute. Cecilio Dominguez scored, and against the run of play in the 26th minute, Dominguez settled a pass from Zan Kolmanic at the top of the penalty area, took a touch and set a low right-footed strike across Melia into the corner. Actually went through a defender's legs, and really not much Melia could do about it. And later on, Daniel Shalaway, in the 71st minute, after Sporting had really, as noted, dominated the proceedings, was able to pounce on an opportunity when Johnny Russell made a great play and poked it on the goalkeeper Stuver, and he made a save, and Shalaway was there in the right spot to just bang it right back into the net, and it would end up being the result that was 1-1. The thing that's always unusual about soccer in this day is Sporting was pressing. They were creating a lot of chances. They were creating a lot of good chances. In fact, in the first half, they had 2 or 3 that if they were just a little more composed in front of goal, they could have had goals. You'll hear Peter Vermees talk about that here in a minute. But actually, despite the fact that they were well outshot and dominated in the play, probably besides the 2 goals, the next best 3 chances in the game were for Austin, including a sitter late on that really should have resulted in the game-winning goal, as Rodney Redes could not put in a perfect pass in the 81st minute, as it were, and Sporting had another great opportunity towards the end. But interestingly enough, Sporting had a lot of chances. They did have a lot of good chances, but Austin easily could have scored 3 goals, maybe 4 in the game, if they had been a little more clinical in front of goal. But in the end, it is a 1-1 draw, and it puts Sporting within a point of the Seattle Sounders in the Supporter Shield race. They'll play the Portland Timbers next Saturday, but this game was one that Peter Vermes continues to be very proud of his team right now as they get set to move on in MLS play, and we're getting full crowds back out there, and actually things in the sporting world are very exciting. But on this particular day, Peter Vermes first jokingly welcomed everybody back, and then, of course, he reflects on the news of the day in the soccer world as he gets started for his comments. And I just love playing Peter Vermes on this Monday podcast, and he's just a insightful, thoughtful, and completely frank and unfiltered interview always, and it's always fun to listen to him.
First of all, welcome back to a live press conference. About friggin' time. Before we get started, one thing I want to say is, I watched it on TV for a little while, but from myself and the entire organization, I want to say that, we're with Christian Eriksen and his family. What an unbelievable situation today on the field. That was just incredible. So glad that I don't know any more news from what I heard before. So I know that he was stabilized, and that was great. So our club, myself, our thoughts are with him and his family, and hope that he has a recovery and he's okay. So it was wow. It was a crazy situation today. It could have been a lot worse, and thank God that it's not. So anyway, take your questions.
All things considered, all the shocks you guys took, will you say 1-1 was a fair reflection of that game?
I thought their goalkeeper stood on his head. I thought that there's a few chances we could have done much better with. Is it a fair result? They would say yes. They had a couple chances, they would say, but the number of chances that we had, high quality chances, was different level. Great possession. I'm really proud that our performances probably in the last 4.5 games have been tremendous, and they're steady, and there's a consistency to it. It's what you're striving for. So that part I'm really, really happy with, and but their goalkeeper kept them in the game for sure.
Yeah, I mean, my second question was just the goalkeeper for Austin. Is that just one you have to tip your hat to him and say well done? Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of goalkeepers that come into this place and wind up having a good game here. But we also just need to be better in those situations. But I don't fault the guys today. The commitment was unreal. The performance was great. The number of chances, the quality of chances was there. Sometimes, but still to fight back after being down 1. Kind of a strange play in the way they scored. Ball might have even been going out of bounds, but Daniel actually headed it, try to keep it or try to save it, but he actually heads it and puts the guy forward a little bit. It's one of those strange ones. But credit to our guys for being able to come back again. Really, that's a different level to me. Shows a great mentality.
Peter, you mentioned the Christian Eriksen thing before. Did you feel like that had any kind of an effect on your players? Were they getting a chance to watch that? Or? It
would have been much different, I think, if the outcome would have been different, because it was not looking good when he was on the field, right? And so I think most people who are soccer fans who were watching the game understand that. But I'm glad that it turned out the way it did. And no, I think both teams were okay at that point with it.
And then we saw Graham Zusi and Remy Walter go out there early in the second half. Can you shed some light on what happened with them?
Yeah, Remy was on the tackle he had when he got the yellow. So I can't tell you too much about it. I don't know yet. They're going to have to do some more evaluation. And Zeus just got a little bit of a tightness in his hamstring. And I think we made the right decision by getting him off, because it's better not to push it. He needs to take care of himself and get himself fit. So it was the right thing.
Hey, Peter, obviously a great performance all around except for another goal given up early. How concerning is that's happened now?
It's not at all. As I said, I think that, when you play the way that we've been playing the last 4.5 games in the way that we're playing, it's going to continue to keep yielding results. There's one thing to possess the ball, but there's another thing to possess the ball and create high-quality chances, and we're doing that. Maybe we didn't find the net today like we should have, but again, I wouldn't chastise the guys for that. I think sometimes that happens in soccer. You got to give a lot of credit to their goalkeeper. He was standing on his head in some moments. And then some other ones, maybe we could have been a little bit calmer maybe in those situations, but the movement off the ball, our circulation of the ball, playing in between the lines, creating numbers up out wide, number of services in the box. I'm very, very pleased with the way that the guys are evolving so early on in the season and the way that we're playing.
Peter, Daniel Shallowy resurgence is continuing, another goal. For so long now, it feels like we were talking about, he finds his confidence and finds his groove. Is he finally there now?
Well, I think he was when we first started preseason, because we talked so much about that it's a new season. So what do you have to fall back on, right? You're starting new, so there's nothing to think about. So I think for him, he started off very well. He came with the right mentality, and I say it all the time. It's not the goals; it's the other work that he does that then creates the chances for you. You make your own luck, and that's what he's doing. It wasn't like he dribbled 6 guys and served the ball into the far post. It was a play where, again, he finds himself in a really good position, but he's ready for it. And we talk about that all the time, that when we're going to the goal, there's areas that we need to also cover, because the ball pops out. We have to be ready for it. And, he was in that area. And that's a good decision by him, but it takes work to get there. And he did that.
As mentioned, Sporting is within point of Seattle now in the Supporters' Shield and also the Western Conference race, and they do play the Portland Timbers, team that has played basically 500 soccer, that next Saturday at 9:30, and that game will be on Valley Sports Kansas City, as it usually is. Yesterday, of course, on Valley Sports Kansas City 2 or whatever it is, alternate, I don't know. It's up near 700 on my cable system, that's all I know. And it was an entertaining game and a fun one to watch for the fans as Sporting and Austin play to a 1-1 draw. Well, the football news of American football here in Kansas City, of course, the Chiefs completed their OTAs, and I guess the good news there is that there really wasn't much news, and we have only the one significant injury so far for Kyle Long, and that is a significant injury. There's no question about that, but that's why the Kansas City Chiefs have beefed up their depth so much. But I guess the real football news, as it were, over the weekend was the where's Waldo aspect of Patrick Mahomes. He was at the Sporting Kansas City game. He was at the Big Slick virtual event, and he also unveiled pictures of his baby Sterling, and basically anything that Patrick Mahomes does makes news. So when he puts out pictures of a young child, that's news. If he's going to a Sporting Kansas City game, he's going to be on the board and create MVP chants wherever he goes. Patrick Mahomes is the person who drives the bus for the Kansas City Chiefs. And of course, mandatory minicamp is upcoming after the 3 weeks of voluntary OTAs, and Patrick Mahomes in the news, not really about throwing a football or anything else, but all eyes always on the Chiefs MVP. Let's wrap it up with a little bit of tennis, and Novak Djokovic is continuing to try to make history. He is plowing towards the all-time record for Grand Slam tournaments, and of course, he beat Rafael Nadal in the semifinals of the French Open. That's saying something. Nadal has won 80 million French Opens. Djokovic wins his second, becoming the first modern player to have at least 2 of all the Grand Slams. He gets his second in the French Open as he beats Tsitsipas. I'm not going to try the first name. The first name is actually easier, but I can at least get that out once. Falling behind 2 sets to none was Djokovic. He came roaring back, won the match, took his second French Open. He now has got himself halfway to the Grand Slam for this year. Of course, that hasn't been done in over 50 years, and this triumvirate of unbelievable players that we have seen in this generation of Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and Novak Djokovic shows really no signs of slowing down. Nadal losing at the French Open is newsy. Federer pulled out of the French Open to get ready for Wimbledon, which is in 2 weeks. But Novak Djokovic certainly has to be tabbed as the favorite for that, and perhaps be on his way to making huge tennis history with a potential Grand Slam if he can take down Wimbledon and then head to the U.S. Open. And he has been a fabulous hardcourt player in his career. So we will see what we will see. Novak Djokovic coming back from 2 sets to love down to win the French Open. Big news on a Sunday that was full of a whole lot of stuff, and so was the weekend. I had a good weekend. Hope you did. Through the week, we'll bring you more and more entertainments of all kinds of varieties, and we appreciate you being here at DannyClinkscale.com and the Reasonably Irreverent podcast, or chipping in over at patreon.com/DannyClinkscale. Head on over there and you'll get some more good stuff in addition to all the things that you can access right wherever you're listening right now. Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
Dillon's Heating and Cooling, treating you like family with expert and affordable HVAC services.